Memphis, what's interesting about Memphis is they're fourth in the West right now. They have been they've been winning.
They need to trade Ja Morant, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's one of the least valuable players in the NBA. But seriously, they've been great without him. It's made me wonder. So I'll rattle off the names. Not all of these are, they should make a blockbuster trade names. I have Jerami Grant. I'm wondering what the cost is for him with his injury. I have Thaddeus Young too. I think a Thaddeus Young, Jared Jackson Jr. front court could be super interesting. I also thought this team was a sneaky Miles Turner destination. I know that Jackson's done a better job playing five, but Turner and Jackson work, and they could work really well. I think you get into the conversation of, well, what's the opportunity cost when we already have Jaren Jackson Jr.? Like, how much are we giving up for another big? I have Brandon Ingram. I don't think New Orleans moves him, but if you like, Memphis has.
That's a really fun fit.
They have all their own picks. Even when you say, oh, we're not moving Desmond Bane, we're not moving Jaren Jackson Jr. and Morant, they have stuff. They have all their own picks. They have the Jazz's pick this year. They have Golden State's in 2024. Pascal Siakam would be interesting for them. Like, these are my all-in names. I also have listed for Memphis. I already said Jerami Grant and Thaddeus Young. So, like, sort of on the middle end there. I'm curious what you think about any of the scenarios that I've thrown out there.
I like some of these bigger plays. I like the idea of the Turner, Jaren Jackson Jr. front court. I really like having that go-to scorer in Brandon Ingram. I think both of those make a lot of sense, especially because the Steven Adams experiment just isn't working out as well as it could have. So I think that if you make moves to lessen the reliance on his minutes, that it's a positive, which makes me lean more towards the Turner route than anything else.
Wow, that's funny that he would be your top target for them. I'd probably prefer like a Pascal Siakam, but Turner's gettable, more gettable than a Siakam.
And it's the gettability that changes the equation there. I mean, yeah, like in a vacuum, sure, I'd rather have Siakam on this team, but given what it's going to take to get him versus to get Turner, I think that calculus makes a little more sense in the latter direction.
The other, I think people are going to wonder why there's not a wing on there. I think that Desmond Bane may have given them the wing who can put the ball in his hands. You have Dylan Brooks already too. But if you wanted to go that route, and he's not a wing, but Kenrich Williams is the answer here. Just if you were going to go on a lower end play, he could fill so many, I wouldn't even call them holes, but so many different spots for them. And Harrison Barnes, that's another name that I think would make a lot of sense for Memphis. Imagine him sort of playing the four next to Jaren Jackson Jr. You have Bane and Brooks and John Morant on the court. That's a super fun lineup.
Right there with you. I think Bane's progression definitely helps a lot of things. Memphis is in a weird spot where I want to see how good this team is with Morant back on the floor as pieces have coalesced in his absence, because they could be further ahead of schedule than we expected, which changes a lot of things entering trade season.
My prevailing assumption was that they needed to just get someone who will help their defense, but they've been so good defensively without John Morant. You can ask yourself, well, will any of that sustain when he comes back? Because I think he's part of the problem, but he's not like, De'Aaron Fox level bad on defense right now. He's trying. He's like, John Morant will try on defense, is my point.
That was a shot at De'Aaron Fox if I've ever heard one.
They were just talking about this. I can't remember which podcast. It might have been Kevin O'Connor's, or maybe it was Zach Lowe's, but they were talking about his upright stance on defense. And it's just, when you've watched the Kings over the past 2 years, like the De'Aaron Fox defensive, whatever it is, performance is alarming.
I agree. It was just the way you said it. It was just more brutal than I expected it to be.